welcome back to my watercolor channel, and today I will paint a small house. I'm not quite sure where it is, but it looks a little bit like it's in Austria or somewhere in southern Germany. Looking at the structure and architecture as well as the landscape, so it's quite green and it contains some hills at the background and then a lot of flowers at the front. I decided to paint this photo because I really liked the green as well as the flowers there. I believe it's not in Finland because the Finnish bungalows or mökki look a little bit different from the architecture. I started by drawing it and now I continue to add a first layer of paint, so the sky. Here I use ultramarine blue and it's a little bit adding the paint diagonal, so from the top right to the left bottom. I wanted to add some interesting lines in here. And then at the back I start to add some of the greens. I try to mix some different greens here as well while the paper is still wet, so we have some ultramarine blue mixed with some lemon yellow and then some viridian green, as well as adding some really nice green which is very strong in color and very bright, which is basically made of viridian green and some of the lemon yellow. When I paint green landscapes, I try to mix my own colors, so usually it's mixtures of some warm blue and yellow and as well as some cool blue and for example lemon yellow, and I think the variety gives a much better tone to the picture than just using ready-made greens, but that's up to everybody's taste here. And I added the path in between as well, so I added some yellow ochre there, and now I continue to paint around the house area, so where the garden is going to be. And I used as well some of the lighter greens, but as well you can see some of the ultramarine coming through nicely, which is more of the shadow areas coming from the house and the surrounding bushes and there, or flower bushes. And here as well adding some of a very nice green next to the path. I have added some brown as well, so there's gonna be a fitting with the color of the house. But now I focus on a tree which is standing behind the house, and I use also here different kind of greens, but mixed of very light in color, especially at the top, because I didn't want them to be too dark, at least not at the top as the sun is shining, so I want to emphasize it here. And then adding the closer it comes to the ground, adding some of the darker greens. I use here a big brush because it's a bigger painting as A3, and I thought it would be nice to you be able to use a lot of color at the same time. Now I focus around the house, so I add more of a darker green as well as some really nice bright green. At the front of the house there's gonna be some flowers which are a bit whitish in colors, at least that's what's on the reference picture, but I will add there as well some of the darker reddish so it fits well with the colors of the surrounding. However, then I continue with the corner of the painting and add some of the deep yellow, as there is some yellow flowers as well, and adding some more of the green after everything has dried. And then a bit at the back, some more green, but very light layer, very light in pigments, and more adding of the nice deep yellow there as well. I continue with the house, so I mixed my own brown, which contains ultramarine blue, deep yellow, and some of the cadmium red. I use a lot of paint, but I try to be careful not to overpaint the windows, as well as said there's gonna be still like a small flower patch there, and adding some of the olive green there. So olive green usually you can create of ultramarine blue and some of the deep yellow. And then I continue to add a very light layer onto the roof. It's basically the same colors that I have used before. And the lists between the roof and the front of the house are a bit whitish in color, but I focus on a shed, or I don't know if it's a shed or another extension of the house, and I want to have a little bit of different color there, so it's more of a purplish color, and adding some of the crimson red, as well a very light purple. I continue with the small batch of flowers, and I add some of the colder blue there, mixed a little bit with red, so it's a bit of a grayish color when I look at it now. And I add more details to the surroundings. So first starting very light layer of colors, and then having more of a stronger green there, and adding some different structures, so it looks like so that the first layer comes nicely through. I also use a much darker colors now, where the shadows are to be seen much easier. I'm a little bit looking at the reference picture, what it looks like there, but it's not that exact. And then I continue to add a bit of a grass here and there, so mostly using the top of the brush and then the side of the brush, but it's possible of course to split the brush and add much easier the grass areas as such. And I want to emphasize as well the path here. Now on the right side, adding more of the grass areas and occasionally mixing more green. Now I use a bigger brush because I wanted to cover a larger area, so it's not looking that empty, as well as the grass on the left side is a little bit higher up, so I want to emphasize here as well that adding more structure, and you can see more form in it, which is a bit rounder, so it's not everything so flat. Then at the back there was a much bigger patch of grass, and adding there some more green, as well as playing around with the different blue colors. And I didn't want the path to be too empty, so adding here a very light layer that emphasizing some traces there, but more sharpness to the background, although I don't want to have it to be too sharp, just emphasizing a little bit of the trees or whatever there. And as well you can see there are small house, so it's a bit of two different focuses, but mainly I want to be too empty there. And then adding some of the brownish colors as well here to the path. Then I continue with the front of the house, which has been on the reference picture quite dark, so I wanted to be here dark as well. I mixed a much darker brown, where I added some indigo blue as well, but and emphasizing the green of around the house, or around the front of the house. But I didn't add too much of a darker color, and I wanted to have a little bit of a variety here, so adding indigo blue to the top, as it is kind of like in the shadows, and it's nice to give some structure to the house. Now continue with the roof of the house. I will add some structure like of the roof panels. There are roof or wooden panels, and as well there's some two chimneys. I have to remember not to add too much of the colors, but the side buildings need some attention, so adding some darker colors as well. Now I am not very precise with all the structures here, but I think that's the beauty of watercolors. You just emphasize certain shapes, so the windows don't have to be very precise. And adding taking off some of the paint here as well, because I thought it might be a bit too dark. But the roof is basically ready, and just seeing where I can take off a little bit of a paint, and then emphasizing the roof on the right side a little bit more. As well as on the side building, adding more colors, so it's kind of really sticking out and it's not getting lost here in the painting, because there's a lot of stuff going on as such. And then emphasizing the bash at the front house, so now it's really just adding details and adding contrast to the painting. I'm carefully adding more of the grass with my brush. And more shadows, and a little bit more of a darker grass. And as you can see, I have now split the brush to add more of the grass around the path. And while adding this grass, a little bit higher grass and in a different direction, and as well you can decide whether you want to give it a nice form. Then around the frame it really gives more dynamic to the painting. Now some olive green next to my flowers, and more detailed to the brush, which is a little bit further away onto the path, and splitting the brush here. And giving more structure to the path. However, I did not want to add there too much because I was too worried to take away the lightness as well as the light from the path. It's supposed to be a nice sunny day. And adding more of grasses there, as well as adding more of yellow flowers to the ground. Around the house at the back, so adding these hard edges. Then here add some red because it fits well with the green. So add some of the yellow, and then adding more of the red flowers to the brush with the yellow flowers, so it looks much more orange. And still emphasizing some of the grass humps there. And the painting is nearly ready. Just a few details. And then a few details to the house as well, such as emphasizing the list on the window, and then maybe a bit of a shadow areas which are on the roof, or next to the roof, as well a bit of the windows which are on the side. On some few stones to the path. And emphasizing the path a little bit more. As well as adding some of the details to the house, which is standing much further away. And then I thought maybe this one brush looks a little bit empty, so adding more of the reddish color there to the side here, and adding trunk to the tree. But I thought I will not add too many of the branches because it can feel then too overwhelming, and it takes the attention away from the house. So that was basically it. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe. Bye.